Biscuits with Bosses is supported in part by Off-Duty Thanks, a gift and apparel brand that invites connection while respecting boundaries. Listeners might enjoy the Off-Duty Producer t-shirt if you are an entrepreneur like me, especially when attending film festivals or markets. Imagine you're at a networking event and you want to start shaking hands, but you don't know where to start. By wearing an Off-Duty Producer shirt, you invite people to approach you and ask you about it. Now you're meeting more people in a shorter amount of time, but you also have the ability to keep the interaction brief. Just grab that contact info and make a date for a more thorough conversation over coffee or tea and biscuits. Right now, Off Duty currently offers apparel for actors, artists, cinematographers, composers, directors, designers, editors, musicians, producers, and writers. However, if you need a permission slip to say no, you can just choose the original Off-Duty Thanks apparel. It's a wonderful gift for anyone looking to rest and rejuvenate. Just a heads up, everybody, these are adults having adult conversations, so there is the possibility of adult language. Hey there, party people. Welcome to Biscuits with Bosses by Owl Echo Entertainment. It's the podcast where we get to know leaders in the film and television industry over a spot of tea and biscuits. I am your host, Kay Ross, writer, filmmaker, founder of Owl Echo Entertainment. Now, I have been in the industry in some form for the past 20 years. So theater, television, film, and I gotta tell you, I am still learning. I'm still growing. 6 years ago, I did move away from my hometown in Washington, D.C. in search for something more than just my original trajectory to become a production manager in television. Now, I chose Los Angeles to pursue the more creative side. I knew I wanted to write and direct, but honestly, I never imagined I would have to become an entrepreneur to do that. I'd have to become a boss. Since moving here, I've been on so many coffee dates and honestly just met some truly incredible people. But the industry moves so fast. So now is the time to share what I'm learning as I learn it. And I want to get to know the leaders in the industry the only way I know how. Ted Lasso style. Now, every week we chat with a new guest who is an active influence in the media industry. We get to see the human side behind the role. We get to celebrate our victories together on our way to that big success. And we get to explore what we can do to elevate how we do business, inside and out. So this podcast is intended for professionals in the entertainment industry, but also fellow entrepreneurs. We want to learn from each other. So go ahead and grab your favorite drink, tea, coffee, water, we don't judge here, and join us. Now, we would love to actually hear from you. So if you have anything you're celebrating, feel free to let us know. If you have any questions for our guests, just leave it in the comments below. Hi, guys.
Hello.
And happy Thursday. Welcome back to another Biscuits with the Bosses. Now, originally this was started in awareness of Mental Health Awareness Month, but even though we are now in June, that's no reason we can't continue to talk about mental health. Now, this is the live broadcast where we get to know leaders in the film and television industry over a spot of tea. And then, of course, we dive a little bit deeper to ponder how can we elevate the future of filmmaking. Now, I'm your host, rocking the rockabilly look today, Kay Ross, writer, producer, and founder of Owl Echo Entertainment. And joining me today, our fellow boss-ass bitches, Stephanie Harrison and Stephanie Moore of the Gemini Crown. Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
And I want to make sure that everybody, of course, knows the co-hostess with the mostest, Mr. Matt York, who will be helping us navigate Restream, which, if you are not familiar with Restream.io, it is a platform specifically made to help you live broadcast to multiple platforms at the same time. So whether you're watching this on LinkedIn or YouTube or even Twitch, we're broadcasting it from a single place. And I know that we normally start with like, what are you drinking today? But I want to make sure that actually everybody has their drink before I ask.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Which, since we actually have guests today, Matt, I'm just going to let our special guest give us a little tour. Tell us what you're drinking.
Absolutely.
I am drinking jasmine tea.
Mm.
Very lovely. I'm drinking hibiscus tea with a side of cat, apparently. Hi, you gotta go.
A natural pairing.
Right? The catnip is right here, and that's why she's right here.
Honestly, the only reason my cats aren't here is because they're currently being quarantined because we just finished moving. So I envy your side of cats. Wait, now jasmine for me is like a really nice evening tea. Like, what's the appeal for jasmine as part of a daytime sip?
It just tastes good. I also accidentally gave it to her. I thought I was giving her hibiscus.
Oh, fair point. Yeah, but you can never go wrong with jasmine. It's like a good green tea.
It's just it's a good, refreshing tea. And we just walked like, I don't know, half a mile back from breakfast this morning. And so I'm drinking it chilled. And so it's refreshing.
Aw. Wait now. Are you allowed to dish on where you went to breakfast?
Yes. Downtown Long Beach at And Waffles, which is at First and Broadway, or First and Broadway, actually.
It was so good.
It was really good. Like, yes. You should
so
totally do it. And they have the angel wing things that you can, if you want to.
They have a waffle burger. Yeah. I did not have the waffle burger, but the kid next next to us had a waffle burger.
I'd eat that. I'd order that.
I was like, that's amazing.
They have waffle omelets too.
Yes, waffles, everything. It was huge.
I'm trying to imagine it now because I've seen where they do like chicken and waffles, right? Where you have like your chicken strips between your waffles.
They absolutely
have that. Yes, but this was actually a burger patty in between two Belgian waffles. It was huge.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah. That's intense, right? Matt, my friend, what are you drinking today?
I'm drinking my favorite tea drink, a London Fog.
Nice.
Just Earl Grey and creamer and some sugar. It's very nice.
You know, I feel like I'm also doing my normal daily whatever. It's even in like basic bitch gray. I feel like I'm here, but I'm not all here. Thus, basic bitch. But yes, my normal is Irish breakfast with a spot of honey and almond milk. So I'm also going old school today.
Nice.
But do either of you have like favorite icebreaking questions that you like using whenever you're trying to like get to know people over tea or coffee?
I do. I ask people what is their passion, not what you do for a living, not what you get paid to do, anything like that. But what is your actual passion? And then my follow-up question usually to that is if you're not doing what you're passionate about, what's keeping you from getting there?
Girl.
That's a deep intro question.
People, because you get to learn a lot about people when they start talking about their passion. They will go on a long talk about their passion.
I mean, do you want to start us out? Because I feel like we're gonna have a giant therapy session here if you start with me.
Go for it.
Oh damn! Why'd I have to volunteer? Okay, so what is my passion? I will say that my knee-jerk response was people. And then right after that, I was like, well, hold on. Recently, I had this kind of revelation where I've really been enjoying kind of being a plant mom and being in that hermit space. And it's because so much of my public time is with people. And there's a mixed bag when you're around people and are not prepared for questions or the next step in a relationship, right? So, for example, we have meetings like this all the time in the industry, and at the end of that meeting, if they really like you, then they're willing to do something for you to kind of continue that relationship. And I hate being in a room where someone's like, yeah, send me that script, and I haven't finished it yet, right? So my version of I really like people is usually, if not being on stage, because I like being in front of a microphone. I really do. Whether I'm like emceeing or like stand-up comedy, that's just my happy place. Educating, like it's the same kind of performative art. But part of what I enjoy about it is actually the connection. And for me, that connection formed one-on-one first. And so even if I'm not in front of an audience, even if I'm just sitting to tea with one other person, being able to hear them and understand them and respond based on what I've heard, that connection is so powerful. And so part of what I've discovered lately is that, yeah, I like being on stage, but I really like directing. And I really like directing because you have to be able to connect with your actor and understand and communicate well with your other like heads of departments in order for that entire vision to kind of collate, to coagulate. Wow, that is a terrible medical term to use, but
Gel.
but the image, yeah, gel. The image is still accurate. Yeah, so, and what am I doing that is getting me there? Writing, and educating, basically. I'm doing things like this to let people know that, like, hey, I'm here to be a connection between people who are doing really good things and the people that could benefit from hearing what they're doing. But also with the reminder of like, hi, just from a producing things standpoint, like I can make things happen creatively, and not just logically. So yeah, writing is my my stepping stone to all of those things.
Awesome. See, I learned something.
And I was able to do it without making it fully a therapy session. I'm so proud. That was my main concern. All right, thanks for tagging me in. Now, to the Stephanies, what is your passion, and what are you doing to get there?
So I'll go with that. So I am, when you do those personality tests, there's so many of them, right? And then my favorite one though is the color one, where it tells like the yellow, the green, the orange, the blue. I'm a high yellow. I am the idea person. I love just like brainstorming, coming up with ideas. I've done it my whole career, all over the place. And whenever I talk to people about their passion, I like to brainstorm with them on options and have they thought of this and what they thought of that, and let's, I feel like life is too short for people to not go for what they really want to do. Like what is your drive? What is your mojo? What gets you excited? And to feel like they're never going to get there. And a lot of people, especially younger people, just need somebody to talk it out with them, because they, especially so much bombarded with stuff that it's too much, and they need a kind of a filter, the guidance, or give some practical advice instead of just throwing everything in the pot and trying to figure out, what's going to happen at the end. So as Steph will tell you, I'm always coming with ideas. Always. That's what I do all the time. And that's honestly how we got to where we are in our partnership. It started out as a completely different idea when we started, and we realized that idea was going to be a implementation. And so we and we're like, okay, so how can we kind of do the same thing for filmmakers and help the filmmakers out there without the initial scope that we started with, which was huge. And we narrowed it down. And one of the things that we got was just the tools that are out there are very limited. And you buy multiple tools in order to get to that point. It's hard to find stuff. And when you find it, is it actually accurate or not? And you got to go take classes and stuff to figure things out. And honestly, it should not be that hard. We have the tools and the capability to do stuff at the drop of a hat. But a big part of what filmmaking, you have the creative side of it, but you also have the business side of it. Many filmmakers get the creative side; they nail it. Spend all their time, their money, their family to help support them. They get the creative side done, but then they can't get it past that part. That's the part where their passion is. They want people to see what they have and what they've done and what they're able to do and get it out into the world, and they're stuck. That's where we kind of come in to help them be ready for that next area. Where with the software that we created, you're ready for those meetings. You're ready to talk to investors. You're ready to talk to the distributors, because now you also have the business side without having to really know the full business side, because we made it intuitive and easy to understand, that if you just go through the software and do what you need to do in the software, by the end of your project, you have everything. Because we like to see people succeed. That's my passion, is helping people kind of understanding what it is that they really want to do and then get there. I love watching people succeed. I don't care if I ever get an accolade or a thank you or anything on the back end. It makes me heartwarming to see people succeed. and to know that I can help get them there if I can. To the birdie out of the nest and say, fly, right? You know, that sort of thing. So that's really what my passion is. I like to think tank with people and come up with ideas and then see what we can do with it.
Yeah, man, that's so incredible. Before I forget, Miss Moore, tell me about your passion, what you're doing to work towards it.
So my passion is actually giving people the tools to do what they want to do. So whereas Stephanie has the ideas, I like creating the pathways that actually give you the resources to do those things. So for me, it's a lot more about like, okay, so here's our idea. How do we break it into smaller pieces, and how do we put that together? And so, like anecdotally, I had a really hard time in math until I hit geometry, and then geometry made sense to me because you use roots in geometry, which is logic. And using logic to solve a problem makes so much sense to me because it's like, okay, well, if I want to do this, then I have to do this. And so that's how, that's one of the is being able to break it into pieces where it's like, okay, so like I have a 16-year-old who is awesome, like so artistic. And so he's been brainstorming ideas for all kinds of things since he was 4 years old, and he has this amazing story, and he's been working on it for forever. And so a lot of it, like when he was little specifically, was just saying like, hey, you know, here's the character you have. Now, how do we build that out? How do we make it into a full story? How do we make it into something that once you're comfortable with it, if you want to share it with other people, how do we get them interested in it? And so creating those tools, that's really my passion, is helping to create the tools that gets rid of those gatekeepers, because I hate gatekeepers. I'm like, you don't want people knowing how to do this. Why? Because if you have new ideas, you create innovation. And by being innovative, you make the world better. And so that's one of my passions is really striving for innovation in sustainable and ethical ways. So that's another one of my passions is how do we make things more ethical, and more sustainable as well.
I mean, cheers to that. I mean, cheers all around, but also cheers to that. If for nothing else, because I think, especially for people who come into the industry, you do not realize just how wasteful the industry is. And I'm not just talking about production, although production is a very clear, example of that. Because when we build a set and then we have to strike that set, it's not as opposed to theater where parts of that is either, they keep those sets for months or for years, or they change it up and use it because theaters have networks, right? So other theaters in the area will take parts from those sets and put it in storage and use it for other things. And they find ways to make it a little more sustainable. Film, they strike it, they get rid of it. It's so wasteful. And again, production is just one aspect of it. So yes, cheers to that. And so I think when you hear a lot of those influencers who are talking about like, we're looking for different models so that corporate doesn't take over. Yeah, that's certainly from a development standpoint. But I think from soup to nuts, that has to be a conversation about like, how do we make the entire, the workflow more sustainable so that we're not burning out companies every 10, 20 years, because there have been some high level companies that have recently dipped out for no other reason than it simply cannot adapt its model to whatever this next landscape is. That's crazy. I feel like this is a good time, since you both have mentioned like your software. I kind of want to do a little trailer, and then I kind of want to hear like an origin story about like what it is you do and like how it is you got there, and how people can like use the software. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
Sweet. So we're going to try this thing because, again, this is all new to us. Mr. York, will you hit it with the video?
Production Value is the only all-in-one film business. Gemini Crown Text Creator Suite. Production Value is the only all-in-one film business software that allows the collaborative nature of production to be stored all in one place. Production Value includes breakdowns, budgets, schedules, call sheets, document storage and contract routing, inventory control, calendars, templates, reports, and more. The holistic approach to production management includes intuitive navigation and a clean interface to create an enjoyable workflow while eliminating redundancies. Production Value software is the only film production business software that integrates seamlessly with all final draft files. The Gemini Crown Tech app works as a companion to the software, available to all crew and cast, allowing for easy messaging while on set and in times when things may change quickly. Start your free trial today.
Yes. I love that. And actually, I feel like you may have to like revisit it, because I feel like clearly there's programs out there that get you through scheduling and budgeting. But I feel like part of what this is kind of diving into is the idea that from development through to pre-production,
Yes.
all the way to distribution. So just walk me through, like, what was the problem you were seeing and how did you kind of solve it with this?
So I'll start. Again, idea person here. And the idea is this is so inefficient. The way that things are done, and particularly in the independent film world. Studio, you have a bit more resources, but as a mid to lower budget filmmaker, it's trying to get everything in one spot was a nightmare. My background, I work in tech. I work with a lot of technology vendors. And I see the user interface a lot, and I have a really strong passion about making it easier for the user. The end user should not have to jump through hoops to get their tool to work for them. So that was one of the frustrations that we were trying to solve. It's like, I should not have to go take 2 semesters worth of classes to figure out how to use this software. And it just did not make sense to me. I was like, that's yay for those that want to do it. But for me, I don't have that kind of time to allot into my schedule. I want to go make my film and make sure I have everything together in one spot. So Steph and I met like years ago at different film and industry events, particularly the Austin Film Festival. We would like meet over and over and over again. And then we worked together on a different film festival, Lake Travis Film Festival, for a couple of years. And that's where I really got to like, this chick is really cool. We're going to do some sort of project together.
Do you think I'm cool?
I think you're cool. But not only that, but she's extremely organized. Like, she's extremely organized on, especially on the film side and pulling things together. So idea, and then she puts it into a tool, idea, tool. And so that's how that partnership worked, because my idea would be like, why can't we just do this? It was like, well, I guess we could. It would probably have to be something like this. And then, so she goes and does the logistics on the back end, and then I take that and where the can go in and navigate through it without having to do much more than step through the software. So that's really the idea behind the software, is to get everything in one place, make it affordable. Like, you don't have to break the bank to get into the software. It's $44.95 a month for an individual user. That gets you access to all the tools, so you don't have to go buy different platforms. That didn't make sense to me either, to have multiple softwares that I would have to buy, and then those softwares didn't talk to each other. When we started talking with our development team, they were like, well, that's just lazy programming to make it like that. So they didn't get it either as to why somebody would do that. So when we integrated, we really did the all-in-one stop shop, what you're going to need from development all the way through your deliverables. The checklist that Steph pulled together and created for this is phenomenal. There's a full deliverables checklist in there. Now, of course, it's going to be different from whoever you talk to at different points in times, but for the most part, it has I would say about 90% of what you're going to need to talk to a distributor.
At least to get started. You're going to get a seat at the table with it, right? Whereas before, in order to try to find that, you can't. You would get a piece here, you would get a piece there. Again, the gatekeepers of this industry
they know who they are, first of all. Let's say that. That's a little T there. They know who they are and they know what they're doing. But it's like, why? Why would you make it so difficult for people to try to make this their passion a career? I don't agree with that. There's enough pieces to go around. There's enough different tastes for somebody to make a film, and these people over here don't like it, but these people over here love it. That happens all the time. So the tool that we came up with was to help the filmmakers at any level, whether you're just getting started or whether you've been doing this for years, to have what you need immediately without having to go all these different places to look for it. Same as like with just organizing it. I've heard nightmares of people losing entire files because somebody quit a project and they were the only one that had them.
I feel like this is a good break, at least to make sure that everybody who's watching, or whether live or during the recording, that you have the QR code for Production Value, this phenomenal app. Make sure that you take a moment, scan that, and find out more about how this can help with your indie productions. All right, the reason I wanted to take a break is also because, y'all, we dived in fast, and I wanted to make sure that we had a moment, because I'm a big fan of taking a victory round. Oh, I almost forgot, because we are also apparently really good at breaking our own ice. And so we didn't really actually need our prompts. But usually, if I have any trouble asking some, more in-depth or penetrating questions, I pull it from this lovely little deck called Actually Curious. And Actually Curious was basically started to gamify getting to know people and having better and more in-depth conversations, which I adore because, I love connecting with people. And sometimes you just don't know the questions. Now, please know, even with the basic deck, that they have different levels. So the starter level is the blue cards, and then it moves on to green and yellow and then pink. So, when you're ready to dive deep, go for the pink. Would you be willing, the Stephanies, would you be willing to do an extra ice breaking before we move on to victory round?
Of course.
Ooh, I love this one. How does singing make you feel?
Depends on what I'm singing. It really does. I'm belting out Metallica like my 21-year-old was doing last night. I might be in a fit of rage, but also peace. So it totally depends on what
Metallica, that's so great.
Yes, it's a mood thing for me. I listen to everything from classic rock to indie rock and hip hop and rap and everything in between, country, classical, just in music. Depends on the mood of the day and what I'm doing. I can rage jam whenever I'm driving. So. All right.
Rage jam. I love that. Miss Moore, how does singing make you feel?
It's a stress relief, let's be honest. And a lot of times it's either Linkin Park or Papa Roach or something along those lines. Occasionally Cooper Allen, actually. Jordan was laughing at me, my 16-year-old, on the way to get her from the airport this morning, because there's a song called what is it called? If some son of a, I don't know what the song is called, but it's about if somebody comes up to me and says this song ain't country, I'm gonna slap a bitch or something like that. It's a ridiculous song, is what it is. But because I was jamming out to it, my 16-year-old is looking at me like, "The hell are you doing, Mom?" I was like, "I'm having fun with my music." He goes, "You do know you have weird music?" I was like, "Yes," because I listen to everything from like Irish folk songs to Metallica and Papa Roach and always Linkin Park, let's be honest. Evanescence. I mean, hell, there's some Lady A in there and Pink. Oh my God, there's so much Pink. In fact, when she calls me,
that's my ringtone.
Her ringtone is Pink.
I love Pink.
Yes. Well, I jam out to Pink a lot.
Fun fact on Pink: my husband's cousin is one of Pink's dancers, and she's the one that taught her the aerial stuff that Pink does in her concerts now. Yes.
That is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, also a little random, but I love the random cool stuff. So I'm here for it.
She's a professional dancer out here in LA, and she's probably choreograph some of your favorite stuff that you've ever seen. She's phenomenal. But yes, L'Oreal Hennington is my husband's cousin, and she danced on stage with Katy Perry and Chris Brown and a lot of people.
You know, one of the reasons I like hearing stories like that is because I think sometimes we forget that it does take a village. Like everybody wants to be Pink or everybody wants to be Lady Gaga or Katy Perry, and it's like, you know how many people are part of her team?
A lot.
You know? I used to work admin at a community college when I was finishing the last courses of my degree. And it was in the music and theater department because, of course. And I remember this prospective student coming in with her mom. And as most teenagers, she was very put out by all of this. Totally wasted her time. Why are we even here? And I was like, oh, what do you know, it could just be a day. It doesn't have to be a teenage thing. So I'm going to ride right past it. And I'm thinking, so I asked her, like, so what are you interested in learning as part of the music department? She's like, oh, I just want to be a pop singer. And I was like, so, but what are you interested in studying? Because all of the great pop singers studied. Like, I was floored when I saw Aretha Franklin during a live version of Oscars. No, it must be Grammys. Although I feel like it was Oscars, because I remember it was supposed to be Pavarotti who came out and did the piece, and Sting was introducing, and Pavarotti had to call out Sting, and Aretha Franklin filled in for him, and not to do like one of her normal songs, to fill in for his song, and then she performed operatic the Pavarotti song. I was like, y'all take note. Anyway, I say that simply to say, you know, do your research, but also like don't underestimate the amount of studying and work that they had to do to be the lead of that team. But also, just because you see what they do and you want to be that person doesn't mean you can't be part of the team, because there's so many other aspects of what make them great, including the dancers, including the choreographers, management, PR, blah, 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 blah. You have so many people on that team. Anyway, success happens in many a form.
Yep. J-Lo's a good example of that. Like, she started out as a backup J-Lo.
Oh, yeah.
Her on In Living Color, and then just boom, 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 boom. But yeah.
Yeah. You know, and it's totally possible that her trajectory could have stayed just a dancer. She didn't have to branch out. But even within that, like, one of my first guests in the victory round, which we'll be adding into next, was Diane. My brain is failing me. I wanted to say Keaton. I was like, no, Diane. Of Wally Bird production. And she came to LA as a dancer and moved into acting pretty quickly after that. And through her first partnership, became a producer. And now she's directing her first feature and is in this like directing, producing groove. Anyway, all that to be said, like, do the thing, but recognize that as you learn other things, your trajectory, it will not be direct, you know? Yeah. So I love hearing those stories. Thanks for sharing your Pink story. Singing makes me feel like a rock star. That's all I have to say. Right? I don't know that I always believe it about myself, but I love it when people say it, so I can be like, I'll take it.
That's one of the rage songs. So what? I'm still a rock star.
Indeed. Actually, that brings me to, because several years ago, I started what I called the victory round, which was just an ability for professionals to come together over a round of something, whether it be tea or other beverage, and just take a moment and admit, hey, what did you do this last week that you're really proud of? And ideally, you're celebrating the thing you did, not the thing that someone else saw you do. So for example, if you achieved an accolade this past week, that's great. But I'm like, if you won a contest, totally fine. But I'm more interested in celebrating the fact that you finished the thing or that you submitted to the contest, because those are things that you had control over, and that you can build on, as opposed to somebody else valuing it, which you can't build on that.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't, because it's not your control. So I pose it to you, the Stephanies. What's something this past week that you did that you feel really proud of?
So we finalized a collaboration with 48 Hour Film Festival. We are an official sponsor of 48 Hour Film Festival. So I'm excited about that. I got the founder of 48 Hour Film Festival, Mark Rupert. It was brought to him by the Austin producer, Eileen Harding. She was phenomenal and instrumental in making those introductions and getting that process started. And so this is going to be the first weekend of 48 Hour Film Festival where we are the official sponsors. So there's 52 cities. And I love 48 Hour Film Festival. I've done it twice in my life. I feel like I'm too old to hang with all the filmmakers now to actually be of worthy contribution out at about 1 a.m. But I have done it a couple times and it was fun. It was a great experience. And I got to do something on set that I hadn't done before. I did sound on one. I have never operated a boom mic in my life. And I did a boom mic because I was the only person small enough to fit behind some of the spaces where they needed the mic to be. So yeah, that was challenging. But yes, so we solidified that partnership with 48 Hour Film Festival. So each of the winners of the 52 cities will get a 1-year subscription to our software platform, and then all of the participants for 48 Hour Film Festival, regardless of which city you're in, they get a discount for buying the software package. So we're excited.
Oh my God, that is so cool. Matt, if you can actually leave, it should be like 48 Hour Project or something, but if you can leave the link to the 48 Hour.
48 Hour, yes, or it may be 48 Hour Project.
48 Hour Film Project.
Yes.
Film Project, yeah. I am also a big fan. That's before I went to film school, I did a 24-hour through Apple and then a 48-hour, and thank God for 48-hour, because I don't know what anybody's thinking with a 24-hour. Just insane. And I've done 4 now. That sounds right. But they're great, and I highly recommend use it as a test ground.
Yes.
Right? Test out a new technique, test out a new crew, test out a new genre or a new location, or just use it as a proving ground. And then no matter what, you've won.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Get it in on time, put it on the screen, test your theory, move on.
Film and it gets screened. I mean, like it's phenomenal. You made a film with a group of people from development to post, and it gets immediate screening at the competition. It's fun. It's great. Recommend it for all filmmakers. You got to do it at least once.
I don't know what you were thinking doing boom though. Sound is no easy thing, and were you also producing?
I was not producing on that one. My friend was producing, but it was like everybody was. So I was a power lifter back in the day, and so I can hold it without it like going, dropping and all that. But I also had to be short enough to get behind. Well, because 48 hours you're very limited, and you're just throwing props up. But we had a couch that you had to be behind, but I had to hold it high enough still. So yeah, I could fit behind the couch and hold the mic without it dipping down into the scene. So that's how I got that job.
Making it work by extension alone.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Well, cheers to that. Cheers to the partnership, and cheers to your, foresight to be like, continue to get our names out there. We need to partner. Who's someone we can partner with? And I think that's a great one because, I mean, you get all ranges of filmmakers that go to 48 Hour Film Festivals.
And they're international now. They're in all over London, and they're in Canada. I was just like, yeah.
Yes.
Way to go.
So exciting.
Thank you.
I feel like Miss Mole, do you have another victory that you would like to claim? Because that feels very like
specific. That was ours.
So is the WIFT Austin one.
Yes, we also partnered with WIFT Austin. You want to? So Women in Television and Film, what WIFT stands for. We are a community partner with them. And so we all members get 15% off of the software platform through WIFT. And then we have a meeting Wednesday with their programming team to see what we can put in a workshop schedule for them. So workshop and education, things like that. So that's what
So cool. I love it. Go ahead.
we couldn't do those without other people putting together these events. So like we couldn't partner with 48 Hour unless they were open to that. And also their local people are going out and talking about 48 Hour because I mean that they do a great job of promoting it and getting people around. And that was at a WIFT Austin event where I met Eileen to do the 48 Hour Film Festival collaboration because I'd literally signed with Austin like 2 hours before I went to their mixer as the community partner. So those were a couple of really good wins I've had in the past few weeks.
Yeah, man.
We're excited about.
Wait. Yes, hearty cheers. That is phenomenal. Congratulations. I love that you can actually cheers in person. That's so great. Look, I told you before, you're literally like you're speaking into fruition right now because I would love for this podcast to eventually become like in person. So because the cadence of conversation is so much easier when you're in person.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for getting us started by being in person.
Well, thank you for being flexible and coordinating while I'm in LA.
Yeah, man. I mean, while you're in LA, we should actually like in real life get together.
Yes.
I feel like my last questions because we dove deep really fast, so I feel like I don't have to really dive into the deep at the end. But usually my final questions are like, what do you hope for the future of filmmaking?
Get rid of the gatekeepers. Really, like make it more accessible and equitable for independent filmmakers, for those stories to be told. That's my biggest hope, is that by making it more sustainable, by making it more equitable, by making it more ethical, one, it can be a sustainable career for more people.
Yeah.
And more stories too. But also like just, you don't have to be an MBA to do to be able to do this correctly. You don't have to hire an MBA to do it. If you do, great. But business is logic. That's what it is. It's being logical about it. And by being organized and being able to create things where it's not like so high of a barrier to entry that you have to essentially be a millionaire to be able to do it, that's not fair. That's not how the best art gets made. The best art gets made by the people who are most passionate about it. And so it's my hope is that we break down some of those barriers. And like we saw in 2008 to 11 with the rise of like essentially prestige TV and the streamers and things like that, where like it was all of a sudden the floodgates opened and you saw so much independent film coming out, and like really good independent film. Like that's when A24 rose. That's when that's
one of my faves.
Yeah, that's when Blumhouse really started taking off. And those are horror, like they tend towards horror, but they also tend towards really good story. That's what they care about, is really good story. It's not about the splashiness, it's about the story. You know, Focus has always had that, where it's about the story, but they're prestige drama, which is always going to be more expensive. You know, it's more accessible. Those are more accessible. How can we do that and create even more of an ecosystem that really celebrates and helps filmmakers who may not even be to the point of the $3 to $5 million range that, you know, Blumhouse tends to stick to, but like even those $100,000 or those $50,000 films, like how do we do that? How do we make it more equitable? And how do we get those? Because I mean, I've seen some amazing stories from some little bitty filmmakers that, you know, they're like, yeah, I had like $6,000, but their story was so good. And that's what matters, is the story. I don't watch a film for the splashiness unless like I literally don't want to think. If I'm going to watch a movie, I want to watch a movie that makes me feel.
Yeah. For the record, this is entirely one of the reasons that this broadcast even came about, was because I was doing a lot of conversations behind the scenes with different creatives, including producers, about, hey, I know you know, but I'm just going to say it out loud, that the way that we pay and protect our below the line is so incredibly, not just disrespectful, but you have to know that they are risking their lives by agreeing to the terms that you set before them.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about because of, healthcare coverage, because between projects they have none. And I'm not just talking about, when you claim day rates but don't claim overtime, how that F's people up. And even how, reality television and, game shows and that kind of thing, they were able to get in below the line at such a lower rate that part of what we've done in this system, at least in the United States, is erode creative masters to the point where not only are they not becoming masters of their craft because they can't survive in the industry long enough, but they actually will leave the industry in order to survive, which means they're not learning their craft in the industry. And should they want to have a better life, they have to leave the industry. And that is a terrible 1-2 combination that literally you're just purging yourself of creatives. I'm not saying no wonder we're looking to AI. I'm just saying, look at what had previously happened when you don't foster the up and coming. And that includes protecting them. That includes, looking out for, and there are huge reports right now about major production companies, major productions that, construction workers or, any of those below the line people are still waiting for their paychecks.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, well, first off, that shit happens all the time. This is newsworthy because it's major productions. But secondly, let's just look at how ridiculous it is that that's happening to the people who are already not getting the best deals.
Exactly.
It's just insane. So I 1000% agree with you, Ms. Moore, about, I hope too, for the future of filmmaking, that part of that is we're beginning to look at how to sustain the industry by also respecting the, the below the line, the workers, and in doing so, ensure that not just the pipeline, but the people who protect the pipeline keep everything flowing at maximum so that we can focus on the story and not on the effing workflow. That shouldn't be our focus. That should be a given.
Right, exactly. Well, and that's something that, like, Stephanie and I both, as producers, I will shut down filming if my actor treats my PAs like crap. It's just not going to happen. And I have done it before because I'm like, no, you do not get to treat the person who is working the hardest on this set, literally the hardest on the set, like they are nothing. No, that is not acceptable. And it does not make me popular. I don't care. I'm not there to be popular. I'm there to protect my crew. Yeah. That is my job. That is literally a producer's job. If you are a damn good producer, that is what you will do. You will protect your people. And that means telling your first AD, most first ADs are going to want to, wrap up. But like that's being able to be the bad guy and be like, okay, you know what? We're at 14 hours. We got to stop. I know it's going to cost us money. I don't care. I care about my people getting home safely at night, not falling asleep on the way home. I care about enough turnaround that they're not putting themselves in physical danger trying to get to work so that they can feed themselves the next day. Like, exploitation is not okay. And, that's another hope that I have with like what we're building with our software, is that it also builds in some of those safety nets of like, if you're doing this way, if you're budgeting correctly, then not only do you have that contingency so that if you do go down, do go long one day, it's not going to completely be like, okay, no, we're going to have a 16-hour day and then I need you back in 6 hours. No.
All right. I won't hold you all any further, but just another friendly reminder that please check out Production Value, which I think I may have to do myself, because now that I know that you accommodate transmedia, I'm gonna have to do that. And for those of you who are listening, whether live or recorded, I hope you have a lovely weekend. We do have another guest lined up for next week, but I don't have the information, so I can't give you the bio yet. But tune in next week because we love talking with more leaders in the film and television industry so that we can work towards, elevating the future of filmmaking. And hopefully you have time to stop for a bit of a tea and a chat. Ta-ta!
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Wherever you're listening from, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave us a review. It really does help. This episode is brought to you by Off Duty Thanks, a gift and apparel brand that invites connection while respecting boundaries. Wear your hat, hoodie, or t-shirt about town or to those oh-so-important networking events. Check out the different off-duty versions at offdutythanks.shop. And be sure to grab something for your favorite friend in the film, television, or media industry. Today's episode was also made possible by Owl Echo Entertainment. You can learn more about them and their production work at owlecho.com. Head over to owlecho.com to see what we've got coming up. New podcast episodes, events, writing workshops, and consulting services. Today's episode was hosted by yours truly, Kay Ross, co-hosted by the incomparable Matt York, produced by the amazing Lane Ewing, edited by Matt York. Yeah, he really does do everything. Opening music by The Midnight with their track America Online. And of course, follow us on Instagram and TikTok to stay in the loop. We've got plenty more coming your way. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend. Bye now.